In today's Farm Report, for many producers, manure is a valuable fertilizer, and while some may think it's smelly and dirty, producers see it as a cost-effective way to put essential nutrients back in the soil. Jim Sulphur with the University of Minnesota Extension Service Office has more.
And when most people think of livestock, they a lot of times have kind of a negative connotation, unless you're living in the rural areas, and many times that's associated with the manure they produce, and we often think we have a lot of water in the area, and so of course we're going to pollute all that water, but that's really not the situation. There's a lot of reasons that manure really long-term is very good for our soil, as long as of course it's properly applied and it's kept out of our lakes and streams. I'm not advocating at all that we ought to just be spreading manure anytime, anywhere, any place. But let's look a little bit at manure and what's all in manure. Of course, we often hear about nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium, which are the three big nutrients that are in manure. But manure also contains a lot of micronutrients that we don't get when we buy commercial fertilizer, and so therefore it really does allow us to grow some excellent crops. Many people really like manure, no different than homeowners that are listening. They go out and tend to buy composted manure. It does a lot of the same things on our fields as it does in your garden. It provides not only a lot of those nutrients, but also provides an awful lot of organic matter to our soils. And that's really a positive thing for many of our soils in this area are a little bit on the sandy side. And it also really helps contribute to some organic matter in those soils. It also creates a nice structure in that soil. And most of us have house plants, and we really like all that organic matter. Also provides some solids, and of course those solids can be used for other purposes. As I mentioned, we can compost that, we can use it in our gardens, we can sell it to garden stores. There are a few other things. We don't really have many digesters. There's ones over by Princeton that's still operating, but we also have the opportunity to produce some potential energy out of a manure, but we don't see that used a lot. So the primarily advantages of manure maybe over commercial fertilizer would be those micros that it provides, and then all that organic matter. I know there's some odor maybe that comes along with that, but I think as you're driving around the country, and of course this is the time of year that producers will start beginning hauling manure, remember that's usually for a reasonably short period of time, and it really does promote excellent soil health throughout our land here in central Minnesota. This has been Jim Sulphur with the University of Minnesota Extension in St. Cloud.
Did you know? According to the National Agricultural Safety Database, each year there are 30 to 40 people electrocuted on farms. This is Dave Russell with Brownfield Ag News, reminding you that during National Farm Safety and Health Week, to take added precautions to prevent electrical accidents from happening on your farm. Install circuit breakers to prevent excessive current. Make sure circuits are grounded to help eliminate electrical shock and fire, as well as reducing the hazards associated with lightning. And don't forget to be especially alert for overhead power lines. The National Agricultural Safety Database says a number of electrocutions happen on farms when equipment comes in contact with overhead power lines. During National Farm Safety and Health Week, be cautious around electricity and maintain safe farming practices. I'm Dave Russell, Brownfield Ag News.